morning, good afternoon, good evening, good luck sleeping. You're watching PNT. I'm your host, pondering the inevitability of it all. In lieu of our weekly roundup of the weird, PNT would like to address the elephant in the room, a subject we're all aware of, but never address. Crappy UFO videos taken by witnesses. Now, we can all agree that while there are those occasional clear pieces of footage that make us all go, wow, the fact is that despite virtually all of us carrying around advanced cameras on our cell phones, most UFO videos look like they were filmed using a russet potato. The really sad thing is that it doesn't have to be this way. Most of the errors that lead to poor quality witness footage are easily correctable. With a little education and forethought, you too can be ready when a Syrian sun cruiser decides to buzz the local mall. To this end, PNT has decided to create a guide on how to catch a UFO on tape. So grab your phone, fire up your camera app, and follow along. Before we begin, obviously all cell phones will have different capabilities and settings. We're going to begin with some general tips first, and then get into some more specific settings. As you follow along, choose the settings that most closely match yours. When in doubt, either turn off a feature or set it to automatic. Ready? Good. Rule 1. Hold it the right way. The single and most important thing you, as a witness, can do to improve your footage is also very simple. Turn your phone sideways. Most of us think of our cell phones as just that, phones. Well, how do we talk on phones? By holding them vertically. But in this case, our phone is not a phone, it's a camera. Therefore, we need to hold it like a camera, horizontally. But wait, won't that screw up the picture so it'll be upside down or something? Nope. Maybe on certain cameras, but by default, most are now designed to use the 16:9 or horizontal widescreen format. Even if the footage doesn't display correctly on your phone or video player, it can be corrected later using video editing software. The most important thing is to capture as much of the field of view as possible with the camera. If you do nothing else in this entire video, start doing this one thing. Turn your phone sideways. Your photos and videos will thank you. Rule number 2. No zooming in and out. Our natural impulse, especially when we are seeing something strange, is to get as close a look at it as possible. So the impulse for a witness to zoom in is nearly impossible to ignore, but you really should. The camera sensors in your cell phone are incredibly sophisticated. Trust that your camera sensors are better than your eyes, because under most conditions, they are. Sure, you want to make certain that your cell phone is really recording that weird orb floating in the distance, but trust us, it is. Zooming in actually lowers the quality of the video. The closer you zoom, the more artifacting is caused. There are 2 types of artifacting. The first is an image artifact, when there are errors in the camera sensor processing the information, and compression artifacts, which occur later when the video is compressed to reduce file size. So by zooming in on a distant object, you're really giving your camera and your footage a double whammy to deal with. This makes it very difficult to later determine things like the real size and shape of an object. If you must zoom in, first establish your foreground shot, then zoom in once, keeping as many foreground objects in the shot as possible. Then leave it there. Do not follow the object with your camera if it is moving. Allow it to move out of frame. This is another reason why you should turn your phone sideways. With horizontal or widescreen formats, you can see the UFO moving in relation to the objects around it, the foreground. If you zoom in and move the camera with the object, it becomes very tough to tell where or even if the UFO is moving, or if it's just your hands shaking. Yes, your hands will shake. That brings us to Rule 3. Steady your camera. Whether we realize or even want them to, our hands naturally shake when holding any object. No matter how tightly you hold a camera, your body still moves as it makes the small unconscious corrections needed to keep you upright. These motions are why we see cameras shake. As cameras have advanced with technology, we now have filters that can remove much of this. But what if we don't have that feature or have it turned on? What can you do to help take a clearer, steadier recording? The best solution, obviously, is to use a tripod, but those aren't terribly practical to carry around. Fortunately, there are alternatives. Set the camera against a stationary object, a large rock, a book, anything to lean the camera against and keep it still as it records. Yes, it's perfectly capable of recording without you holding it. If you can't set your phone down and lean it against something, use your arms as a tripod against your body if nothing else is available. Try to lean against a stationary object such as your car door frame or roof. The more still you can keep your camera, the better. With these 3 basic rules, witnesses could eliminate 80% of the problems that plague investigators that later analyze their footage. Now, we'll move on to some more advanced tips for recommended camera settings. First, make sure that your cell phone has a large capacity, good quality, high-speed SD memory card installed. We recommend at least 16 gigabytes and preferably 32. Make sure that your camera is set to record footage to the SD card or external memory. This will prevent your video from filling up your phone's system memory and shutting down the camera in the middle of the recording. Second, set your camera's video and still photo recording resolution as high as you possibly can. 1080p or higher is best, with 2K and 4K rapidly becoming standard. Remember, the higher the resolution, the more room the video or picture will take up, so choose according to the size of your memory card. 1080p is minimum. Third, look for and turn on your video stabilization feature. As we discussed before, this will remove much of the shaking from your videos. You might also find this setting listed as, appropriately enough, de-shaker. Fourth, turn your location tags on. This saves the GPS of where the video was taken along with the video and is very important for later pinpointing the flight path, elevation, and other data. Next, turn off your flash. The flash is designed for close image capture photography, for example under 20 feet, and not for video. Using flash will also interfere with your camera's sensor's ability to accurately register black levels, causing increased artifacting later. Look for and turn off the autofocus feature. Instead, practice zooming in all the way to an object in the distance, get it in focus, and then zoom out again. This technique ensures that all foreground objects, including that UFO you're recording, will remain in focus. Next to last is the Auto White Balance or AWB feature. Change this to match the conditions you're filming in or leave on auto. Finally is the exposure value, which essentially determines how much light the camera's sensor lets in. During the day, turn the exposure value down. If you're filming at night, turn the exposure value up. If you're not sure, just set it to automatic. While it all may seem overwhelming at first, once you understand what the various functions of your camera can do and how it records your video, it becomes easy to fall into good filming habits by following our tips. Practice them whenever you're taking family videos, and you'll be prepared for the next time you're confronted with a TR-3B being escorted by Navy fighter jets back to an underground base in the depths of Antarctica. Just be certain to submit the footage to PNT for analysis. Alright? That's it for this time, faithful viewers. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments section below, and be sure to click like, share, and hit the bell icon to be notified when we upload your next portion of the paranormal. I'm your host, reminding you to keep an open mind, because a closed one shuts out the truth.